Hey.
Hello, everybody. It's
Hi,
EFAP
everyone.
Mini Superchat Catchup for
Hello.
episode 309. Whoa!
Aha.
When we were having a chat about Outlaws, that great Star Wars game that came out that changed everything
I
for
really
everyone.
love Outlaws.
Oh,
That was a
great
good
game.
game. I really
Yeah,
like
man.
it. Got KVS and Nyx and Gunther. What's her name? She talks like this, and she's really
Donka.
what's her name? Donka. Yeah, she's hot.
I thought you were talking about her mum. What was her mum? Rico. That was it. They called her
Wait,
Rico.
wait. Donka has a mom?
No, the other one. K.
Dang, I was about to say I missed her.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta boot it up again. Check out, see if I can find if I can find Donka's mom.
We are here today to have a little back and forth about the messages you guys sent us in during the stream. And so why not begin right now with the first message being, looking forward to continued great coverage after the first Outlaw stream. Well, what? I think we pulled it off. It was beautiful.
Hooray.
This is the one where we covered that really long video review with the guy who, like, composites himself in the scenes, if you remember.
Oh yeah, I do remember. That was a very slick video.
Creative.
Visually.
You know,
Yes,
having some fun. You got to
I
appreciate it.
appreciate that. I legitimately do. I mean, some things were said in that video, but I legitimately appreciate the fact that he clearly gave a shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
But have you tried pretending it's what you wanted? Possibly the worst quote in the history of EFAP. Pretend it's what you liked and see if pretend it's what you wanted and see if you like it. That was it, wasn't
it? What's the point of making something if people who play it or watch it have to pretend that they liked it instead of liking it for what it is?
That was
do that
was a Cinema Wins for Rise of Skywalker, right?
Correct. The Rise of Skywalker, of all fucking things, you pull that quote out.
Not this. Not this. Do something that's like, don't do it for something that's universally hated by everybody. No. Do it for something that's kind of contentious, but has a decent following, and you think that it's maybe misunderstood. No one misunderstood The Rise of Skywalker.
We all got it.
It was what it was. It was unapologetically.
Oh, remember, Rags? It was
what it was.
It was done by J.J. Abrams at the peak of his creative talents, I believe, was Screen Crush's opinion.
Oh, God, you're right. That was it Screen Crush?
I'm pretty sure he was called
Screen Crush and people like Wisecrack kind of mixed up.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. They're all... Because Screen...
It's like they
I
have
think
that
there's
Hello
several
Fellow
channels...
Kids kind of energy for like media takes and stuff.
There are several channels called Screen Something. Like, it's... and they're all over the place. So it's one of those guys.
If we were going to be called Screen Something, what would we call ourselves? Fuck, that's so... Obviously, that's a good one. Dang, you had that one in the chamber ready to fucking go.
I was waiting. I was like, come on, you've got to ask me today. This is the day.
Now that freed up some bandwidth for you to think of your next one.
Yep. Now that ER has gotten into streaming, will you make guest appearances on one of his live streams? He tends to do games, but if he invites me, sure, I'll jump on, have a little chat with him.
If ER wants to have a little crossover, then
talk to him about all kinds of things. Who knows? Happy spooky season. I recently watched Saint Maud, and I thought it was amazing. Anyone else seen it?
Saint Maud? All right. I think I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
I don't think I've seen that ever.
What is Saint Maud the patron saint of?
Did you Google that? Oh, okay. I thought you were Googling it, and I was like, oh my god.
I can. What is Saint Maud the patron saint of?
His name's Flanders, right?
Well, it's Saint Maud or Mathildis, Queen of Germany.
Oh, good for her.
If she would like to, if let's see, the site can't be reached. Oh, well, no, there it is. Control F, patron. Oh, wait, not Oats Train, patron. Patron doesn't even show up. You know, I forget I asked.
All right.
If they don't want to throw that info at my face, they got to capitalize on those opportunities to tell me about, their religion.
Maud, yeah.
I'm out here Googling, and it's not an easy to find answer, then we'll find.
Hot take. I'd EFAP to KVS, Dank Farrick, High Rags.
Hi. That is a hot take, but it's actually not as hot as you might think.
She's like
KVS is
super
fine.
insufferable is the problem.
Yeah, it's her personality. The problem is when she speaks or does things.
Yeah, those two things that she does.
Those are kind of the issue. Apart from that, she's all right.
She's okay.
She looks
yeah.
fine. She's fine.
Except
it's just
when
that
her
we live
face
in a
like
world
disjoints, which happens every
yeah,
once in a while.
and sometimes in the lighting it looks really weird. I don't know why they chose to make her like that, but yeah, she's fine. If you give her the same good faith appraisal you could give all people, then she's fine. People are just brain rotted on the internet.
The Adventures of Gay Vest.
She
Sure.
probably is. I mean,
No, she's
unironically,
definitely gay
she
in the
probably
game.
is, yeah.
Remember, there's like 3 different women she implies she wants to have a relationship
Like
with.
passes at?
Yeah. No guys, though. Farewell and adieu to you,
straight,
fair
though.
Fleamish massives. She could have dated Danka. That would have been neat. Farewell and adieu to
No,
you,
hands
massives
off.
of Fleam.
Farewell to you, and adieu to you as well.
Mola would love Mechanicus because it removes the RNG of hit chance. Mechanicus
Oh yeah,
a
this
game?
is your yeah, Warhammer 40k Mechanicus. It's like a strategy game. I think it's on my wish list, as many things are that I need to start plowing through. I'm still working on Cyberpunk. I've been in a bit of a weird funk this last week or so, but I played a bit of Cyberpunk and I'm working through Phantom Liberty right now. So that's my current game that I need to
What's
that I'm
what's
working on getting
Phantom
finished.
Liberty?
It's the DLC for Cyberpunk 2077. And so far, I've played it about 5 hours so far.
All right.
So far, I'm pretty keen on it. A lot of work has been put into it, and I appreciate that. I think the writing could be better and the characters could be better so far, but I know I haven't met everybody. But it's all right. I'm liking it so far.
Hello, Schmeeple. Now that Jeremy from Gays and Gamers is a comic villain in a Blue Beetle story, will you leverage your friendship to your benefit?
What is he? Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers is a villain in a Blue Beetle story. First
like,
off, it's a shame because no one will read it. But what's going on with that?
You remember the one where they did like I'm trying to remember you remember they put like Jordan Peterson in a comic,
like the Red Skull kind of thing.
Well, I remember that there was Red Skull who was like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, it's a similar.
Like
it's not the same. There's a similar one that's like that. I didn't see a lot of it, but it was like a character. There's a villain in some story, and it looks a lot like the way Jeremy presents himself. So it was like, oh my god, they put Jeremy in there.
People? I guess he's big enough.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. And join my Patreon.
Well, it wouldn't be the fucking first time, would it? They remember the She-Hulk shit and the Boys season 2 shit. It's always so embarrassing.
Yeah. It's a weird warped perspective on just like a lot of these guys are just YouTubers who disagree with you. They're not actually like these evil Nazi foot soldiers. They just don't. I think your stories are shit.
Well, it would also be more fun if we got a bit more variety in the sort of execution of different cultural, like internet meme type personalities. Because how many times have they done Alex Jones now? It's like, yep, there it goes again.
Like read it. It's like it definitely read a different book kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be a good example of? Well, I mean, like in a story, someone who plays like the modern Zoomery internet archetype kind of person that's actually done pretty well. Because I feel like there is one, and it escapes me who it is.
I'm confused. What are you asking to find exactly?
Like in a work of fiction, what would be a good example of that kind of archetype character? The internet presenter. Contagion, Jude Law.
Oh yeah, that I don't mind Jude Law. Yeah, in Contagion.
I think he plays a sort of a very realistic kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a combination of different elements as opposed to a specific character or person in real life that they're gunning for, and it's something that would happen. It's a person taking advantage of people who are scared. Like it's definitely inevitable. And like he lies, right? His thing is that he pretends to have the virus.
And at the end, he's a fraud.
He gets his comeuppance.
It's a grift.
Live stream working like the Star Wars Outlaws. I see. Maybe we had some bumps with the live stream, but hopefully by the time people are listening to this, that will have ended because I will have my fast internet.
Giga mega fiber net.
Yes.
Jelly. Mine's good, but boy, I'd love to get a gig up. Ooh, that'd be great. Luckily, I got like 40 or so up, and that's pretty good. I was able to stream Gollum at 1440p 60 without any real hiccups.
Very proud of that,
great.
aren't you?
Yeah, I am very proud of that. That's great.
Please try out Nine Souls. It's Sekiro, but in 2D. Interesting. Now,
Nine
if I can.
Souls. Does Elijah Wood voice the protagonist?
Maybe.
Probably not, but maybe. The chances are not zero.
Yeah. EFAP big flexing and big swinging like a donkey this October with the frequency. Oh yeah, we had a couple of double episode in the weeks.
Yeah, lots going on.
We sometimes have to plan ahead for these sorts of things because you never know what's happening with releases or events. It gets crazy. ND5 should have been the main character, and he was the character of a Star Wars boomer shooter. Don't waste my time with this open world tedium. Hi, Rag.
Hello. It was only tedium because they made it tedium.
I was about to say, an open world Star Wars game is a fucking dream come true for a lot of people.
Sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the idea that it's just they chose an incredibly lame, boring, stupid character instead of making him a cool robot that you can, upgrade, and that you do a story about essentially the robot carving out, like, his own purpose in the backdrop of essentially having, lost it or been, removed from him if, he's a battle droid, right? It's like the potential there is super awesome, but unfortunately, broadly, it seems like Star Wars and lots of stuff in general is not very interested in exploring the perspectives of the characters that are available to them in science fiction or fantasy. Because most of the time, the main character is a human, and I don't get it. I don't get why you wouldn't want to have...
It's a human with a very boring human culture. It's not like humanity, but here's a really cool, interesting thing about humanity in the future.
Exactly. Because that would be cool as well, right? If it's like, yeah, they're humans, but the culture is very alien because this is a different, galaxy, a different place. But instead, it's like, no, I'm Kay Vess, and I'm gonna make a name for myself, and I'm gonna be free. Isn't that right, Nix? And then Nix goes... yeah, let's go.
Did you ever see the movie Titan AE?
I'm sure I have, but
so that movie, this isn't spoilers, it's like the premise. But Earth gets destroyed by aliens, and so humanity flees Earth before that happens, and they kind of scatter across space with all the aliens and everything. And so that's like a unique element of humanity, at least in that movie, is that they don't have a home planet. They're kind of like nomadic and they've spread out everywhere. They don't really have like a home like everyone else does. So even that is like, that's something. That's something a bit more interesting than what you normally get. But it feels like so many properties are just like, here are the bog standard, boring humans. There's nothing interesting about them. Their culture is just literally ours, just in space, with no real deviation or really anything going on. It's a real shame.
It wouldn't even be that dire if the character was still, worthwhile and interesting. But again, Kay is boring, dull loser.
I guess in Star Wars, there isn't a human culture in Star Wars.
Not really, because there are humans on a whole host of planets. Like
humans are just sprinkled all over the place. There isn't an Earth. There is a Britain though, because of the accents, but there's no Earth.
That's mainly where all the Empire get their men from.
Yep. Space Britain. It's a real shame. Do something interesting, damn it, or let us play as an alien. Or give us interesting backstories that determine how our character sees the world and like the skills they have. Like if you had let's take the Acolyte as an example. The protagonist of the Acolyte was a Jedi who an orphan who got brought to the Jedi, trained for whatever reason, left, and then became a mechanic, and that's her job. That could be like great groundwork and potential for a story, but they do nothing with that.
What do you mean? It's super interesting. She's a twin. Did you know that? Super
Oh my
cool.
gosh, she does have a twin. We should have seen that coming.
Even more interesting than the interesting we already
Oh.
had.
That's pretty interesting.
Which is interesting. 4 plus 5 equals 9. All right.
4 plus 5 equals 9? I mean, I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, if
Plus
you,
5?
I suppose so. If you really want to,
From a certain point of view, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, if you really want to be, like, sure, yeah,
But
I
remember,
guess.
it would change if you kind of tilted your head at just a slight angle. Then the
It'd
plus
be a
would become an
6.
X, and then it would be
Oh,
multiplied, and then it
that's
would be a
true.
totally different answer. It would be
4
20
times 5 is it's like at least
at
13.
least. At
It's
least,
yeah, it's
yes, at least 13.
All right, nailed it, yeah. You can... You also can't swim in God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. I assume this is related to the hilarious results of going in the water in Outlaws. You can't swim
Okay, so
in many games. The
yeah,
list of games where you can't swim is actually
it's
longer than the list in which
very
you
big.
can.
yeah. I don't know what point is being suggested
If you
in this particular
understand
super chat.
from a video game perspective, do consider that if you want to add swimming into your game, you're going to have animations for going into water, getting out of water, the actual swimming. Do you have a dive mechanic? And then you're going to have to design all of the maps such that you can get out of the water. So you can't design maps where because there's some games like this and I fucking hate it where you can't like grab a ledge and pull yourself out of the water. You have to find like a slope and walk up the slope out of the water. So you have to build all of your bodies of water that are enterable with this in mind, so players don't essentially get trapped inside of them, or you annoy them by like they go to a place where they can't get out of the water and have to swim for ages. Is there going to be water combat? Uh, it's more than just here's a place you can go. There's gameplay implications and design implications, and it's a lot easier to normally just say you just can't go into the water.
Which is what
And boom, that's
Ragnarok
it.
and 2018 do. You get the walls preventing you from going in the water, but that is not what Outlaws does.
Outlaws
Is
has it
just
where
like
you
you
run
touch
into
the
water and
water,
then you drop into
you
it. Like
die. Yeah,
you just
It's like-
drop through
Outlaws-
the water.
like it's a pit.
You
Outlaws
drop
has a
through the
lot of
turn
water
into a
mechanics,
ragdoll.
and they're embarrassing and awkward
Like,
and broken.
in
Outlaws
Grand
was
Theft Auto
foolish enough to
3
let you go into the water.
In Grand Theft
when it
Auto
was
3, if
clearly
you
not
jump
prepared.
into the water, there's an animation for dying. Like, in Star Wars Outlaws, which came out over 20 years later, you just turn into a ragdoll and drop through it.
Instead of just like having it be an invisible wall, and KVS says, "Oh, I'm not going in there," which is like that would be way, way better than
It's a lot of...
you just
I mean,
touch
her
the
being
water
able to
and die
swim would be the
instantly.
solution to all of this.
It's like why would it be the case that if you can't swim, when you walk into water, you just drop through it? Don't you think that breaks the immersion just a little bit?
Yeah, and they wanted to have
it needs to be
worlds
like it
filled
is
with expansive water sections, but then simultaneously didn't want to do the work to,
They didn't
make it
wanna make
immersive.
or they ran out of time.
That's the thing.
The Ragnarok compromise is what you do. Is like you
Yeah,
need a
it's-
watercraft to explore it, but you can't actually. It's not a like a pathway for the player. You have to have a vehicle to traverse it.
We've talked about this before. It's the options they provide are all fully optimized, but there's restrictions and they are rigid. But you are aware of them. You cannot break them. I mean, with exceptions. But point being is like you are not allowed in the water as Kratos, and you're like, okay, it's not to say that he would die if he was to enter water. It's
You
just
can't
that
do that in the game.
we haven't got the capacity for that in the game, but we'll fulfill all promises that relate to everything else that we've given, but we have not given that. You can do it in the boat, you can do anything you want in the fucking boat, but not that. And then you don't end up... I mean, games usually do this, right? They're defined by their borders, in a sense, for all kinds of restrictions.
Games are, every wall and door, like there are an insane amount of limitations, just like like uncrossable water in games. They're walls, or something like that. There are limitations on where you can go. They're just essentially diegetic structures that your character can't reasonably pass through.
And it's up to a game how much it wants lore of what things, right? Like We talk about this with Tetris all the time. It is an incredibly controlled environment, but
Yep.
I mean, you understand that as a player. Nobody's asking
Yep.
why I can't go, fucking up with my blocks in Tetris. It's like, well,
And the thing is that when you create an open world game, you create expectations in people's minds about what you can and can't do. As much as it might bother a developer that other games will create player expectations, they will. Red Dead Redemption 2
we can,
exists, like it will create expectations in players' minds of what an open world game is. And just saying, well, we're not trying to be like Grand Theft Auto. It's like, well, so okay.
I
Even if we
believe
grant that, people are still going to compare it to Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead.
I believe they would have made swimming a possibility if they had more time.
If they had more time, absolutely.
And the way it would
With how
work is
much
you're
water there is
sort of
on that planet.
you'd be swimming, and then you can still call your speeder. It would arrive, and you can climb onto it from the water. That would be how they do it.
Oh yeah.
But,
I mean, I don't know.
it ain't finished. As Friggy said, when you fall into the water, it ain't fucking finished. You just go, blah!
It ain't no Tomb Raider or Guild
Why do you
Wars.
think everyone laughs when they see that for the first time? It is funny. It's so poorly
it's
done.
Hilarious.
You need to recognize your limitation. If you don't have as a designer, if you don't have a reason to let players go into the water, just say, oh, this just isn't a playable area for you to explore. That's way better than blah, and you just dying instantly and your game being a
Instead,
mockery.
they made a massive area that is.
That was the thing. You compare the traversal with God of War, there is no time where Kratos is at risk of falling out of the boat, other than cutscenes, obviously. Like
you can't crash the boat and then
No.
fly out of it.
No,
Yeah.
no,
It's the most careful I've ever had to be in Star Wars Outlaws. Was
Yeah.
hoping I don't crash above the water and get propelled into the blue death pit.
I want a game where yellow paint signifies unclimbable and dangerous, just to see how it breaks player conditioning.
It's like we learned all the worst lessons from, what's it called? Mirror's Edge.
Oh, well, I would say, is it Mirror's Edge or Uncharted is what you would point to as the beginning of yellow, because yellow paint is, that's Uncharted.
Well, I'm talking about how in Mirror's Edge, there were different colors to sort of signify and guide the player, because you were supposed to go through levels very quickly, and different colors would represent different things like police presence, or like objectives, or areas they kind of didn't want you to go to. And it would help you very quickly know as you speed through levels to kind of know which way to go.
I think why I wouldn't point to Mirror's Edge is because that's all... Mirror's Edge has like a very distinctive style, and a lot of that is incorporated.
Which means a wrong lesson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess the reason why I would point to Uncharted is because Uncharted is like what it is now, which is that you have photorealistic, or at least trying to be, relative to the technology at the time, trying to be realistic, look like a real place in a real environment, but having, certain things that have like white markings or yellow paint to signify that these are things that you can climb, or but of course I would say Uncharted did it better than a lot of things do now, because they would have stuff like bricks jutting out that aren't necessarily colored anything. You would be jumping onto, poles and stuff to swing around as well that wasn't necessarily painted.
I actually talked about this a little bit briefly in my Gollum stream. As graphics get better and better and environments look more and more like realistic and full of props and things to give them life, you need to come up with ways to differentiate between like static objects on the map and things that you can actually interact with and that you want the player to interact with. People who've played Starfield had this issue where it was a very, very tedious thing to look around the environments to try and figure out what was like an item you could pick up and what was an item that was just like a prop for the game or the map that didn't serve any actual utility or player purpose.
That's it's interesting that you say that, because on the one hand, that's definitely true, that part of the problem is that the more realistic and detailed the world looks, the harder it is to convey clearly what you can interact with. But then you think about, games like Infamous or the older Assassin's Creed games, where it's like, whoa, you can just climb anything, obviously within reason, but in a game like Infamous, basically like every part of the environment is something that you can either climb, hang off of, or like slide across like a grind rail. The environment is highly interactive, and there's not many things that you can't interact with, which sort of sets an expectation in the player's mind of, oh, well, I got nothing to worry about. If it looks like something I can climb, then I can climb it. And it's the same in the
Yeah,
older Assassin's
everything is
Creed games.
interactable. Yeah,
I
and
suppose
it's
the difference
designed with that
between
in
the
mind.
old ones and the new ones is that in the old ones there was still some degree to which you had to actually play the game. Now, I remember it was in Odyssey, you could just climb anything basically. You didn't have to look for like the climbing path. If you remember, like when in Assassin's Creed 2 or something, if you wanted to climb like a
Yeah,
really
2
high
or
tower,
Unity or something.
yeah,
If it
there
looks
was like
climbable, it's climbable. If it's even on the fence of being climbable, it's climbable. The whole game
but
is built around the idea that you climb and you climb up walls and everything.
it's
So they're not
climbable.
gonna cheat you. They're not gonna cuck you.
It's climbable, but you still have to like play the game. You have to like figure out which path you're meant to take. Because there'd be parts where, there's no more of a route and you have to go to the other side of the, like another a face of the wall to then see if
Yeah,
there's like a window
around
that
the
you can
other
grab
side of the
onto.
tower.
Whereas
Yeah.
now, it's just, yeah, you just climb up and then you're good. Though I guess another example would be in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Like you can climb anything, but then you just need to account for, if it's raining, that's going to cause problems for you unless you have like an anti-slipping, like a potion or an elixir that lets you grip on more. It's just,
Alcohol.
it's all about what? Oh, does that help you cling to walls when it's raining?
Alcohol
Joke.
does. It helps me.
Hmm.
And on that same vein, you have older games like, let's say, Tomb Raider Gold or Tomb Raider 2, which are like they're older, and the geometry of that game and its platforming, however you feel about it, and its mechanics, but everything was interactable in that game in terms of what you could or couldn't potentially jump on. You knew that some slopes you would slide down because of like the angle of the slope. You would know that blocks and shapes and different things. Lara could go to anything, so if it looked like you could jump on it, you really could. There weren't limitations. The whole game was fairly simple, and you could tell which parts of the terrain that you could interact with. That looks climbable. It is.
Beautiful. Open world as a game genre is tainted now. I mean, as much as everything is,
What
right?
genre isn't?
Yeah. Huzzah! Huzzah to you.
Huzzah to
EFAP
you.
Day. EFAP Day. Hi, EFAP. Ever played Darkwood?
Hello.
Strong recommend.
I have played it a bit. I never finished it. It's on my return to and finish list.
Looks
But I
like
have
me,
enjoyed
you,
what I've played
and
so far.
Metal all have that same thing. We all played it, and we all didn't finish it.
I didn't finish it because it's not because I didn't like it. It's the reason why I don't finish most of the games I don't finish, which is I get distracted by other games and it just sort of fades into the background and I forget about it.
Yeah, no, none of us have got a bad way to say about it, so. Hi, everyone. Dev, wish you were on for the Joker discussion, lol. Joker 2? Listen, illegal to like that film. We tried
It
to...
is.
Man, I forget
Especially in
that film
Canada.
exists. Like, you
Me
just
too.
reminded me.
I don't know. It's kind of... It sits up there for me as just one of the best examples of catastrophic failure.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. I just fucking forget it exists.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons is because like Arcane Season 2 happened like really soon after it, I feel, and it kind of usurped it very quickly as being like the biggest degradation in quality, except for Succession Season 3, or Season 4, so...
I love when video games bring you dumbos together. Maybe you could also get together and play DDLC. Think on it.
Maybe.
Rocky Horror Picture Show, Idiocracy, Grandma's Boy, UHF on EFAP movies when? They'd be peak fire, bro. No cap. Hey, you know, you never know.
For real?
Could happen. Could happen. This guy is in a Jack Sather's vid because they're friends, but Jack hated the game and they argue in it, so maybe check that out. It's good stuff. I think I've seen that video. I was curious about it. See if any interesting discussions came out of it. Not particularly. Just a sort of like broad, I didn't like this, and then it was like, yeah, but it wasn't that bad. It's like, neither of them could fully remember much about the game at that point, so, or like a lot of the details, but it's good that discussion happens. Thumbs up.
I agree. discussion is good.
It is. Sneem a meme of fortune, and S must seek my fortune.
They
Glupbo
dropped Sneem on
Shaggins.
us. They can't drop Sneem
1994.
on us. Like the first room. It's like in her bedroom. It's
I know
Sneem. It's like,
that
how
was
could you
crazy
do
of
this?
them. That was crazy. I think they did that for us.
Oh, they probably did. They were wise to.
Front
Really
loading all the
early
good shit,
on.
you know?
Front load. Yeah, exactly. They knew. It's going to be all downhill from Sneem.
Bringy, thoughts on Nexus mods banning unuglifying mods and the white Angraboda mod?
What? So what? Like mods to what change the way the characters look?
I guess so, yeah.
I I have no opinion.
I mean, I'm mostly in favor of all crazy mods. Just, label them properly, rate them properly. As in, like, if there's anything crazy sexual or something, make sure you have to fucking sign in or whatever.
Yeah.
But
even if the mod is really weird and cringe, and you
yeah,
might have some, even if you got some maybe some demons you need to address, I do think that I do think that yes, all mods should essentially be allowed. If people really feel like they have to make Angraboda white, okay, you should have the right to do that, weirdo.
I like the customization, but sure, everyone has their own preferences, and you know what? The less I know, the better of what some people are up to with their mods.
I was doing some I was actually doing some research. This isn't a meme. I was doing some research on like Nexus mods and what they would allow versus some of the things that they don't allow because they are very askew in that aspect. And there is a lot of there's a lot of not safe for work mods for stuff out
Obviously,
there.
yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
why
holy shit.
my brain first went to, like, as long as you restrict, into a section where you'd find that sort of stuff, because there's gonna be a lot of that. It'll
Oh,
get
yeah.
weird. Dev, Theo, and Metal again. What are they? Some kind of Star Wars in-laws? I tried. Okay, that was the Outlaws team. All right, made sense.
Yeah.
Tatooine has appeared in so much media outside of the Skywalkers now in Disney canon, it comes across as the single most important location. Yep.
Yeah,
Even
pretty
though
much.
it's
Which
supposed
is
to be the opposite of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's meant to be remote and boring.
And no one cares about it.
Yeah.
But everyone clearly cares immensely about it. You gotta go there. Episode 10, My Friend A Smuggler, a Star Wars story. I think we were talking...
A smuggler.
Have you ever been wronged in a speeder accident? Let S. Muggler, and Hershowitz get you the money you deserve. S. Muggler. Makes people... Do you think people think of Harry Potter or Smuggler first?
I thought of smuggler first.
I mean, you're not a
I see
Potterhead,
why
though.
I am not a pothead. I can see how you got there, but I went to smuggler first on account of S smuggler being smuggler.
I can see how you got there, but again, just not into the wizarding world of Harry Potter.
I'm not into that kind of magic. I'm into the sex
You're
mod
like
magic.
you're like the Muggle of Harry Potter in terms of fandom, so yeah, bit awkward in it.
Cold steel and technology and the indomitable human spirit.
Come on, guys! It's not like the original KOTOR game had stuff to do on the starting missions. Don't even talk. It's any game being compared to Outlaws. They knew. They've played games.
They had to know.
I don't know. After playing Outlaws, I don't know if they've played games.
They have, though. They must have.
The Division. They played
They
that.
made the Division, yeah? Like, that's a game.
That is a game.
It's a game with problems, but it
is a game. It is a video game with combat and skills and mechanics.
I mean, I don't know, like, the Division had... I didn't play the second one, but the first Division, it's like, it had, like, a style it was going for in terms of gameplay and aesthetics that can sort of be spoken for compared to something like Outlaws. It's like, yeah, New York and Christmas, post-apocalypse, that's like a kind of like a cool idea.
Yeah.
compared to just like, oh yeah, yeah, Tatooine, yeah.
Remember Tatooine? Of course you do. That's why
Oh,
we're
and
here.
the snow planet.
Jimmy, yes.
Kijimi,
Yeah,
the
that's
planet that
right.
gets blowed up in the Rise of Skywalker.
Woo! Trails
Oh,
in
and,
Which is
uh,
actually good because it means all those wretched fuckers on that planet get vaporized.
You didn't like the bug people?
Canto Bite.
Oh, it's so lazy.
Oh
They
yeah,
chose them
I guess
because
that means that the bug people were annihilated. Yeah.
they were annihilated.
Oh,
All of
you
that
get a
was
few of them here and there. You know, maybe they expanded by then.
the
Maybe.
hive.
Yeah.
It's where like there it wasn't a creative decision to make them bug people. It was that, oh, none of them have faces we have to animate.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it was way easier for them. Just switch the color palettes on all of them. It was like, oh look, they're different. Yeah, we did it. Trails in the Sky is a
Now some people-
20-year-old PC RPG, and in every random NPC has a name and individual storyline progression, and this guy is praising S. Muggler. Well, standards have fucking crashed. They really have.
It really seemed to have.
And it's just that we've lived through the era of graphics to the point where like that was the only thing people were praising about Outlaws, really. And in
Yeah, the
retrospect,
graphics are good.
Which they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Some scenes look okay if you squint.
pretty much, like it didn't impress me. I was more so just like, yeah, modern
If
game,
it was a
right?
mechanically robust and rich experience with good writing, the graphics would be totally acceptable.
Sure,
but-
yeah.
If you don't have anything going for you and it doesn't even look good, it's like, man, you're not even pretty shit. You're just pretty shitty.
Star Wars Outlaws is the first quadruple A Gollum-like open-world action RPG with stealth mechanics and a diverse cast. You get to sneam at women.
Would you rather play Outlaws again or Gollum again?
Well, Gollum is quick. It depends.
Column is shorter, right?
If you had
Um,
to play each game, one game for 20 hours or the other game for 20 hours, which would it be?
Oh God. Okay. Oh man.
Maybe
I
the
don't
way to
know.
put it would be like Gollum's DLC, which is 5 hours, or Outlaws DLC, which is 5 hours. Like, which would you pick up?
I
Is
haven't
it-
played either of those, unfortunately. I mean, no, fortunately, I've not played either of those.
Well, no, they don't. Well, technically there is a DLC for Outlaws, if not two. But
you're like hypothetically.
yeah,
if,
like because
if I had to dive
me and
back
Fring
in.
have completed both of them, so it's like, which would you, if you were forced to play out of those two? It's like,
Outlaws is more fun to fuck around with. Gollum is miserable. Gollum is actually miserable. I think that's the thing. Outlaws is funny. It's terrible and it's funny. It brought me a lot of joy. Gollum drove me to the bottle and I cried because I wanted to see the sunshine. No game has ever made me do that. Gollum is actual misery. I felt like I was trapped in a cage. Games don't make me feel like I'm trapped in a cave. Not even Deep Rock Galactic makes me feel like I'm trapped in a cave.
yeah, I feel somewhat convinced. I think Outlaws would edge it out, and I'd hope for a wacky, broken experience. I'd be like, let's hope
Yeah.
it glitches out.
It'll be funny and you could fuck around like just Dark Souls tard rolling around and punching people to restore my health infinitely. It never got old. It was so funny. It was so on its face silly
Mhm.
that it never stopped being entertaining how stupid it was. Gollum will randomly die and reset my progress for no
He
reason.
does. I
as
saw
if to
that
taunt
clip
me.
where you just die randomly. It's very funny. You have to understand the audience had a lot of fun watching that.
Wait, which part was that? Which part of the game
happened-
was that?
It happened a couple times. Are you referring to the one where I was climbing about to go kill that guy?
Yeah,
Rags
well,
is
so
still in
there's a-
Mordor,
yeah.
so
Yeah, no, okay. So, because there was a part in Mordor where you're climbing, you got to climb up to grab the guy,
That's the
grab him
one.
and choke him out, and like it'll just kill you. Like
It
if you
did.
jump at it the wrong way, you
I didn't
just
even
die.
I didn't even know I was supposed to kill the guy. Holy shit, I got really good at climbing up to him though. I was like boom boom muscle memory. Even in drunken stupor, I was like I was climbing up that shit so good because I had to do it so many times. And then if you go the wrong way, then you'll just fall through the floor. because they didn't bother giving the
Naturally.
floor a hitbox. So, like, twice, I would go onto a piece of flooring and just fall through it and die. And I have to go all the way back down again.
Well, what could they do, Rags? That's just the only...
What could they do?
Can they
Certainly
do
not make a
such
video game.
reckless hate? So, the rebels leave you for dead, and the game still forces you to help them in the end. That whole sequence is insane. It's like, we've got to go get what's in the vault, and we'll pay you for what's in there. And then we find out it's a person. And so Kay says, okay, pay me right now, and pulls a gun on them in the middle of their mission. And then, of course, they shoot her with a stun and leave her to die. None of that makes sense. First of all, you'd be like, there's a person in here, not money? And then they go, yep. And then you go, you're still paying me for this job, right? And they'd be like, yep, that's that. That would be the end of the conflict. Instead, they don't make that clear to her, and then they shoot her with a stun and don't take her with them. They just leave her in there. For reference, later on in the game, she asks Asara about that, the guy they save, the guy who gets captured at the end. And his only response to it is, yeah. Yeah. It's just like, what? Like, why do you understand? None of that makes sense. So yeah, her hatred of the rebels is very funny, because I don't think the writers could really construct... Do you remember she has like a rant about how the rebels are just like syndicates?
Yeah.
But it didn't make any fucking sense at all, because all the rebels do in all of the story is save people. That's like all they do. And she even gets mad at one of them for suggesting she could help save people because they haven't considered what she wants.
You just want to use me like all the syndicates
Yeah,
do.
it's like...
And they're just asking her to like, hey, can you help us save lives?
Would you like to fight the war
Fight the
against the
evil
Empire and
empire?
save innocent people? And it's like, wow, once again, only considering yourselves, which is some of the most... I really want to speak to the people who write this shit and be like, do you know what person you've created? Do you have any idea?
I hate
they-
you.
I think they don't. Who are you? Rags proves it because he's a little guy.
That's true. I'm just a little guy, you know? Just proven.
Proving
That's
it.
what I do.
Hey, Fringy.
Oh, hello.
And the next one says, hi, Fringy.
Oh, hi.
And they're asking, what do you do in Magpie season?
Like, I'm not sure what they mean by that, magpie. I guess maybe
Even when the magpies are
maybe
around, I
You
guess.
hunt
so
the
what they
magpie.
might be referring to is that there are certain seasons when magpies are more inclined to swoop at people. It's just a known thing about magpies is that particularly if you're sort of getting close to their home, they'll swoop at you. Though I've never been swooped by a magpie before ever. Which is, you know, I don't know. I guess they're like, hey, Fergie, you're all right. We'll grant you safe passage down this footpath.
I've never been swooped by a magpie either.
Well, your magpies are different than our magpies. Your magpies are like corvids. Ours are like a different. They're not. It's not the same. They're like a different kind of thing. Even though I'd say that our magpies look more like crows than regular magpies do, but they are not as closely related as I understand it. So our magpies are a bit. Do you know what an Australian magpie looks like?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, that's one of
Let me
our
look it
animals
up.
of the day then.
Australian magpie. They look similar to ours.
As I understand it,
far as
they
I
are
know.
not. As I understand it, they are not the same. It is not closely related to the Eurasian magpie, which is a corvid, according to good old Wikipedia.
Magpie War.
As I
Australian
understand it,
versus...
they're pretty clever, but they're not as clever as European American magpies.
Okay. Yeah, it says, the Australian magpie is an Artemidae, made up of birds found only in Australia. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's because I guess it's interesting the amount of crossover and uniqueness in terms of the amount of birds. I mean, then again, Australia, basically like all pet birds are like Australian birds, or at least a significant number of them are, which is kind of interesting to think about. Like budgies are Australian, cockatiels are
Yeah.
Australian.
What about pterodactyls?
And
Those are actually pterosaurs, not birds.
they were in the North America part, right? Or am I mistaken?
I don't know, actually.
Well,
The continents were probably different back then anyway,
oh,
so
well, yes, of course, but I thought they were like in the part
zoning.
that is
Yeah.
what America, was, but I could be mistaken.
Well, Fringy, have you ever been bitten by a bull ant?
No, but they hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
that's
there's a channel on YouTube that just like goes through all of the most painful creatures to be bitten by and just rates them.
yeah, it's just
You know,
you
a
got to watch
psycho.
out if it's a bit of a chunkier ant, watch out. Otherwise that
They'll
could
get you.
hurt.
Honest Trailers guy called people who hated Outlaws Karen cells. Lost a lot of respect for that guy years ago when TLJ came out anyways.
What's
Which
a
is,
Karen cell? What is that?
I don't know. I'm almost
They're
curious enough
Karens,
by
but
that
also
name.
they're incels.
I'm curious enough from that name alone just to possibly check out the video. I guess it would be Honest Trailers for Outlaws. That getting mad at like people who hate that game or shit on it is such a pointless fucking endeavor because it is like an awful game. Trying to be
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean,
you
well,
know,
it's like the people who are, aggressively defending it. Are you ever gonna play it again? If you even
no,
did, you're not. So
no, no.
who are we kidding? Who are we kidding? You don't care that much about it. Like I don't
I
get
would
the point. What's the
wager
point of that?
it is almost impossible for someone to be passionate about Star Wars Outlaws. Like it's almost
What
there.
would
What are they
generate the
passionate
passion?
about?
Yeah,
Exactly. It is a
Is it
what in
fucking
the
K-Vest as a
game?
character? Is it the robust combat and stealth mechanics?
no.
Is it how nothing works?
Empty. Nothing. EFAP TV Tartakovsky's Star Wars Clone Wars. Listen, not impossible in the vast future of EFAP, but not currently happening. Yeah, in any way, shape, or form, I'm afraid. I'm tired of your crap. Cthulhu's powers don't work that way. He doesn't induce madness. The madness only affects lesser minds like that of mortals. Alright. First of all, anyone who's
Rodnet.
interested in Lovecraft would know it ain't like a story, it's a genre at this point. And then all the people who've created stories within it, it's all dependent on the author's interest. So, take for example, when we talked about Zorro, right, in the Ultimate Showdown, it's like, does Zorro have a gun? It's like, well, depends. Are we doing the original, or are we doing more modern interpretations, or are we grabbing the Antonio Banderas one? It's like, well, we broadly like went with what the collective sort of imagination of that entity is. And so do people typically, like, I can't remember, did we settle on him having a gun or not? Do you remember, Fringy?
Oh no, who having a gun again? Sorry.
Zorro.
I don't remember. I don't remember what we.
I don't
Settled
remember what
on.
we settled on either, but obviously the point is that depending on exactly where you draw from, what individual story, or what developed additional, even third-party editions with different authors or interpretations, adaptations, different levels of popularity, it all changes. Cthulhu and other Lovecraftian creatures, like, it's like a given that that's one of their aspects, that they induce madness of the complete unknown and ununderstandable. So, being like, in the original story, he's only effective against particular kinds of... It's just like, why are you even bothering with this? Like, it would be like fact-checking us on fucking Unicron. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know which continuity Unicron has the correct amount of powers on. I don't know anything about fucking Transformers anyway, but, going from a broad understanding, and the same thing happens with anyone who writes for Lovecraft now, which I said, how many of these sort of elements have ever evolved themselves into an entire genre? It's like, that's how effective his, like, work was. So, what Cthulhu is, like, if you Google image search Cthulhu, you get a fucking plethora of results. You're not going to be getting, like, one unified vision of exactly what he is and what his powers are. Complicated. Same for Nyarlathotep, I think is how it's pronounced. That's had a bazillion interpretations. That was the one, Rags, that turned up in The Empty Man, I believe.
That's right. I think so. Yes.
And
That was a
so,
neat movie.
you know, if someone said, "Hey, Empty Man, you fucking idiot, that's not Nyarlathotep's influence or power," it would be like, okay, that's fine.
All right. Well,
We're
this
having
movie,
some
he's
fun
what
with,
they
you
say he
know,
is.
playing with... And that's the thing, unlike something, let's say, you adapting a book like The Shining or a game like Dead Space, Lovecraft is, like I said, a genre as opposed to just a source. It is its whole fucking thing. And if you listen to writers that at this point are better not named, I mean, there's a certain Gaiman who did a lot of Lovecraftian writing, and he would have argued that it's about, you know, being influenced and inspired by the genre and then trying to take it places and stuff. And so I don't think it hurts anyone to say that when Cthulhu is present, he'll have an influence on all entities within a certain fucking distance or whatever that makes them go mad. Okay, you'll be fine. Doesn't matter if it's 100% accurate or not. We're having fun. Anything else you guys want to add to this topic?
No,
No,
sounds
man.
sounds solid to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, don't restrict a lot of this stuff so much, you know.
Well, remember, the Cthulhu showed up in Underwater, and that was not
That's right.
accurate whatsoever.
No.
But, like, it's fine with me considering the story that was being told.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, a game based on another 40-year-plus old IP, sold 3 million copies in 24 hours. Well, right. I don't follow Dragon Ball Z much.
Me neither. I don't know anything about it. It's got Goku and
It's got Goku
Krillin.
in it, yeah.
Piccolo.
And there's Piccolo. He's the green guy, yeah.
Pickle.
There's Krillin. I don't know which one is Krillin, but I know that's a name from it. There's a guy called Trunks.
You must
which is
get
an
the
interesting
Dragon
name for a
Balls.
gentleman. Yeah, don't they grant you like a wish if you collect all the Dragon Balls? How many Dragon Balls are
See,
there?
it sounds like I feel like you know more about Dragon Ball than Muller and I, because yeah, I don't
I have
know
no.
anything
If you would ask me what do the
Dragon
Dragon Balls
Balls.
do, I'd be like, the more you collect, the more power you have.
The
I
more
guess.
powerful. Yeah,
Well, that might be true. I think that
It probably
if you
is
just collect
true.
all of them, you get a wish.
I guess that would
And I
count,
also
yeah.
wonder, they seem kind of like cumbersome. Do you have to carry all of them around, or just like if they're in your general possession, then the Dragon Balls kind of understand, like, yeah, he's got the rest at home. He doesn't have to combine them all together like the skulls from the Phantom or something.
By your logic, Greek gods are even more OP, whom when gazed upon by mortals, mortals explode.
That is definitely not necessarily true at all.
Well, and even if it were, this is the kind of stuff that complicated the shit out of the Ultimate Showdown. Because remember when we introduced just judging just how powerful Bugs Bunny was, it ruined everything.
yeah, exactly. It's complicated.
Steve from Minecraft also ruined everything.
Steve from
yeah,
Minecraft is insane.
Steve. That's right. Yeah.
His raw power of carrying weight was complicated, and, you know, just how much... Was it? Was this silly shit like him versus James Bond or something? It's like, he's probably got this. He's gonna...
because he can just go underground straight away.
Immediately starts digging
Yeah.
and creates a whole fucking
Steve is
universe down
extremely
there.
resilient.
Yeah.
Like the amount of arrows that he can take and the kind of damage he can put up with. Steve's a hero.
I'm just here to support Derp Wolf. Remember Derp Wolf, the initial plushie?
Oh.
Good times.
Oh boy.
Hey EFAP, did you guys notice Waka has the dumb haircut all fictional black characters have nowadays? But he just had...
That's kind of weird.
Does he not have the Rhodian haircut? I don't know. I don't remember.
No, he has the weird black haircut.
You don't think about him much?
People.
I don't think about him much.
You don't think about Waka? Yeah, because I'm too busy thinking about Danka. That's true.
Even though they spent a decent amount of time with Waka for no reason at all, you know.
Yeah.
Miss Waka now.
She's an idiot.
Yep.
You trust him
no
fully,
person who was playing the game
unconditionally.
understood why the fuck that was happening. He was just like, this is happening.
The only defense was that the game is so shitty and terrible that there was a part of you that goes, is this just the shitty writing of the game?
Mm-hmm. And then it was.
It was, but it was also like, yeah, of course he's going to betray you. Because but the shitty writing. It is also that. It was both of those things.
Speaking of indie games, I played a demo for Voin. It's a first-person sorta roguelite with fun combat and Demon Souls vibes. Would recommend. Never heard of it. Voin. V-O-I-N. It's not Wordle in space, it's Mastermind in space. Fucking cringe in space is what it was, that stupid minigame.
Oh yeah, god damn, that was so bad. And it's not even, it comes up like fairly regularly as well. It's not that small a part of the game.
Was terrible. Speaking of indie games, I played a demo. Oh, sorry, I read that one. A shilling for the Shilling of Outlaws.
Oh, we didn't chill it.
They find Sneem yet, or was that reserved for the DLC? We still didn't find him. He might be in the next DLC. We gotta hope.
Oh man,
Search for Sneem.
the search for Sneem. It's like a Star Trek film.
Hmm.
The search for Sneem.
2000s emo editing style is cringe and unprofessional. 2000s emo editing?
Was that what that video was?
I didn't get that vibe.
I did not get that vibe at all.
As I said, I way prefer that compared to the vast majority of shit we see. There's a style of video
100%.
essay that has completely become like homogenous. Everyone does the same shit. The 20-minute videos is always the same. Stupid wounded animal voice. He didn't even do that. So you know what? Points.
Yeah.
Points.
It's there's a guy I watch who does some videos. It's Jabo, and he kind of does that in his intros where he will like put himself into video game environments and he cuts them off to where he'll be like behind a desk or around a door or something like that. And I was like, hey, that looks good. That's really neat. You got a good editor. Unless he does it, whoever does it, whether it's you or someone you pay, they do a good job. It's fun. I like it.
Thank you.
Into little video game scenes.
Thank you, FAP Gang, for all the vids. I know you put a lot of time and effort into them, and it's appreciated. You guys are truly the best. Also, hi, Rags.
Hello, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Love you guys' new content. Was wondering if you intended to look into Transformers 1 at any point. Lots of issues in the world building and story IMO. Would be curious to hear your thoughts.
Oh, I'm just not a Transformers guy. I know. I'm not
a Transformers guy, and
that kind of thing.
Got put off it by some trusted reviews.
I saw it and it was like, not very interesting or impressive, honestly. But yeah, not terrible or anything, but like, yeah, not very interesting.
Transformers 1 gets 3 magpies out of 10.
Oh wow.
Love you guys' new content. Was wondering if you intended. Oh wait, I read that one already. Gosh darn! If you're EFAP boyos were the characters from Mystery Science Theater 3K, I think more. Sorry.
I'm Crow.
So they say. Mauler is Mike, Rags is Crow T Robot, and Fringo is Tom Servo. Metal is definitely Gypsy.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I know. You see, the super chatter and we're on the same wavelength. All right, I already knew. I got some stickers. I've got Crow and Tom Servo on my stickers on the side of my computer here.
Good. Dev's face being half on screen is disconcerting. Yeah, sometimes if it just works out that way, I feel like there's no point in resizing it all so that it fills the thing, but I change my mind every once in a while. All right,
sometimes metal's worth the effort.
Displaying
to the audience.
Slow down, Rags. My Huttese is a bit rusty. Good reference. Fringy, I'm glad you finally made it to FNT and you're really leaving Rags' shadow. Can't wait for you to tell Mauler, look at me. I am the EFAP now.
Oh my goodness.
Fringy is a brave lad, exploring new horizons, making new friends.
We need Star of War, a Salacious Crumb story. You know, that game would have been a work of art. I'm not even kidding. There's a gold mine to be had playing as Salacious Crumb running around, a platformer.
It's you say that and my mind thinks Gollum.
I know, but Gollum could have been not cringe.
Gollum could have been not cringe.
Gollum could have been
It's
a not
true.
Gollum-like. But a Gollum-like Salacious B. Crumb game would be pretty good, I think.
I would play it. I'd be curious, how, like, because we've never seen him move. Like he gets zapped and he
Well,
flies up, but that's not like moving. And he normally just sits around. And even when they had him in the Mandalorian, they were just like in the trees, the little guys.
I think you see them
And
move in
so,
the... Funnily enough, in Outlaws, they're in trees. You can shoot them with stun and they'll run away.
oh, okay.
It's not,
I did not
you
know
know,
that.
it's not beyond what you'd imagine. A creature like that. It's nothing
Probably pretty
crazy.
goofy.
Yeah.
He's a goofy guy.
I have BD1's Lego set right next to me right now. He's a handsome lad. Very charming. Good for you. Rags never said Nyx was good, just that he found him cute. Bringy gushes over fictional critters just for their designs all the time. What's the issue?
I just think he's neat.
He's not neat. That's the problem. We're trying to get
He's a
across
neat
that
little goober.
the whole design and purpose of Nyx is to make the player like melt with cuteness, and it'll like overwhelm or override a lot of what could be seen as the cynical nature of it all. Bringy finding real animals cute or fictional animals cute is one thing, but if Fringy was saying that all the time while we were trying to, like, you know, criticize the game or something, I probably would be like, can you shut the fuck up?
Well, just be
Nyx
like,
is-
you were talking
Nyx is
about a
real to
Pokemon
me.
game and talking about issues with, like, the mechanics. It's like, yeah, but man, Pikachu, like, look at him go.
Look
Like,
at Pikachu
what's going
go.
on? And of
Thundershock.
course, if they're real, then you have no point because
No.
then there's nothing to do with whether or not they were created as part of like a story to achieve certain ends or to trick the viewer
like,
because they're just real life.
I'd say Nyx and ND both got that like idea behind them. One's supposed to be badass, cool, interesting, and then the other one's cute but ferocious, and he'll defend the shit out of you, but also be the best companion ever. And it's not built with any kind of like actual consequences in the world or meaning. Nyx is like the most incredible pet you could ever fucking have. He seems to understand English fully, like even all the nuances of it. You know, and does anything that Kay could ever want him to, while simultaneously
yeah,
not being taken care of by her.
Exactly. That she puts him in harm's way, like
He doesn't
constantly.
deserve her.
No, it's
Or she doesn't
but
deserve him.
that's what I mean about like Nyx bugs me because he's kind of like he's perfectly designed to make people go, oh, I wish I had a Nyx. Oh, he's so cute and awesome and wonderful. And it's like, yeah. That's like it helps him get away with a whole bunch of shit.
You hook, line, and sinker. That's the whole.
Because yeah, like
whole
he
idea.
solved all of their fucking mechanical problems. He basically does everything. Except shoot, but like, you know, whatever.
Hey, the DLC.
Yeah,
He'll whip out a
he'll
little
have
gun, a knife. She'll just say, "Go!" Nyx gets him, and he
Well,
just
that's the
jumps on
thing.
him and stabs him in the neck.
He may not have a gun or a knife, but he does have the ability to detonate grenades, which can wipe out like
Yeah.
whole armies of people. It's
Yeah.
insane.
That was wild watching
Yeah.
Fringy lose his shit over that. That's insane. That's in the game. Like no repercussions,
actually-
an infinitely
it's-
repeatable mechanic with no
And the thing
counterplay.
is, that it shows up late enough, and you might not even think to do it. That like you don't even realize that it's something that you can do.
Sabak, something created by the first Bane novel and meant just for a scene of Bane's force powers and allow for world building, something else Disney took from the EU and ruined. Well,
Sabak seems like a foundation of a game.
I didn't like it,
That they
but apparently there's
stopped.
loads of versions of it across all of Star Wars' fiction, so this was just the
But
Outlaws
that would make
version.
kind of sense. It would make sense that a card game known as Sabak has different rules depending on which like planet and sector you go to.
Yeah, they called the one
It
in
wouldn't have
Outlaws
a
Kessel
unified set of
Sabak,
rules.
so...
Okay, yeah.
Mauler, why do you...
Elantro's better.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Mauler, why do you still give Dev a platform on EFAP? You blacklisted Synthetic Man for threatening to say things about Rags and Jay that aren't as bad as what Dev actually said about Corey Comparator? That's the fellow that got shot, unfortunately.
I don't believe that's true. I've spoken with Dev about this. Synthetic Man seems to have an actual hatred in his heart for certain kinds of people if they're not of the right orientation or epidermal palette, or gender, I guess. Dev does not have any of those traits.
Also, we've brought on all kinds of people for way more controversial statements. If you knew everything about everyone who's ever been on EFAP, then you'd be fucking shocked. Because that's not really the be-all and end-all of whether or not we'll have someone as a guest. We're looking for good faith discussion. And that could be with people who completely disagree with us, or people who maybe are experts on the thing that we're covering, or someone who just happens to be a friend through other means. I would say that Dev has only ever tried to add to the conversation, and he's super civil on EFAP, so like that earns him the right to return, I would say, versus someone like Synthetic Man, who, as we covered, is a substanceless hack who has no idea what the fuck he's doing. He's just appealing to like a broad cultural movement, and you know, like that's good enough these days. A lot of the time to just, you just say games suck now, games suck now, games suck now.
Yeah, games suck now. Here's a woman, here's a black person. Oh, gays exist. Bad, 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 terrible.
And then on
The
top of
white
that,
race
said
shall
that
prevail.
he'd like to come on EFAP just to fucking call everyone slurs. It's like, why the fuck would we invite that? What's the point? Believe it or not, EFAP's really, our goal has never been and never will be to do blood sports. We're not interested. We like discussion, however mundane that can come across sometimes. And yeah, I feel like Dev has been a very, I feel weird saying this because it's not actually a requirement ultimately, but he's like well behaved, he's civil, and he adds to the conversation. If he said a whole bunch of shit about us and everything, like maybe a discussion would be had or whatever. But I don't know why you'd compare those two, considering the vast gap of like personality between them. I would argue.
Dev has had my back. Dev has sacrificed for my sake to hold up like our friendship and his principles, and he's a guy who I have a lot of respect for. He's done stuff that a lot of people wouldn't do. He shouldn't be compared to Synthetic Man at all. He is very reasonable, and I enjoy his company, and I enjoy him being on EFAP. And it would take a lot to get me to speak ill of him.
Technically, Sabak came from a Lando novel, but the Bane books are better, so I put association there. Yeah, fair enough.
Is that how it works?
Well, like I told you, I saw mentioned there's like a bazillion different Sabak games depending on who wrote what and who made what. Right. So maybe it's like almost a rite of passage for making a Star Wars thing. It's like you can have your own Sabak, make it whatever you want. It's like, okay. Some of them are better than others. It would be brilliant if an open-world Star Wars game, you could go to Tatooine and meet one NPC there who would say, "You're on the most boring planet in the galaxy," and nothing else would be interactive.
Or there's an option to go there, and then your co-pilot's like, "We're not fucking going to Tatooine.
Why the fuck would we go to Tatooine?
Why do we want to go there?" And you're like, "Because of the Skywalker Ranch." And you're like, "The who? What?"
Here's someone. Dev, audiences are too stupid to handle multiple biomes on a planet. Meanwhile, Halo CE has every biome on one ring.
Wait, did Dev say that when we were talking about...
If he said audiences are too stupid to handle multiple biomes, I feel like all three of us would disagree with him, so...
If that's what he said, which I doubt, but...
I don't remember that, but...
Let's see, Halo had...
Well, Halo had a whole bunch, because you had, like, the sort of Pacific Northwest. You had the desert, Truth and Reconciliation, like, that's kind of American Southwest kind of vibe. Then, of course, you've just got the actual snowy areas and the jungle areas for,
there's a desert on the Ark in Halo 3, right?
And also the, yes, there is, and also the Pillar of Autumn has crashed in, like, a barren desert as well.
Yeah, it is kind of barren. Yeah, that's right. I forgot because you spend your time on the ship, but yeah,
Well, yeah, because it's something of a point of criticism of I said it was more like a rainforest, but I suppose that's basically it's describing the same thing though. It's just a different. Like Halo actually has a good amount of variety. It's one of the main complaints about Halo Infinite is like, man, you only got one biome. That's stupid.
This is a departure.
And then we're chasing this art style. It's like, you ran out of time. That's what that means. You ran out of time. You couldn't develop anything more. You had to get the game out, and you didn't have anything else. So it's just the Pacific Northwest, which I particularly like as a environment, as a biome.
Yeah,
I really like
good.
the Pacific Northwest, but I do like
I like-
variety as well.
Yeah, I like desert biomes, not all the time.
Hmm.
I like swamps, but rarely.
Really? Rewatching
Swamps are the
Arcane.
sewers of biomes.
Too many swamps in From Software games, and everyone hates them. Rewatching Arcane, and I'm like that shill who had the seizure watching the Tross trailer. Valid reaction, or am I too biased to experience it objectively? You talking? Oh, rewatching Arcane, like the whole show. You're feeling that way? I mean, you know, if it means that much to you, it's a very well crafted story. So I can get it in a lot of moments of it. And I could even understand it for the trailer for season 2. You know, who knows what'll happen?
Oh, those were the days.
Those were the days. Do you remember reference to movies? Yes.
I do.
This is just like Spider-Man in the MCU. Laugh my ass off. Well, in what way? Like, because everyone's got mixed opinions about exactly what how good that is at this point. You have to be more specific these days, all right? Spider-Man in the MCU could mean anything. You're alive. I mean, live. Yes, we were, and we will be.
We are
again.
live and alive.
Tatooine in A New Hope, Tiny Farm plus Janky Port, Return of the Jedi, Crime Palace plus Dune Sea, Phantom Menace, huge cultural market city, and Canyon Networks. Every time Lucas returned with new stuff, more to the planet than Lars's farm. I think that, but there's certain things that fit way better than others. The problem truly is just how much we go there. It's just like how fucking coincidental that everybody is here and everything that ever happens is here. And you know it's because Tatooine is iconic for Star Wars. That's why we end up there all the time. Which, you know, you'd think Coruscant would be, wouldn't you? Like more
I
main.
can believe it's going to Coruscant constantly.
Well, that's the thing. It's like a capital hub. It makes a lot of sense, and it is a really fucking cool design for a planet. But we just don't see it as much as Tatooine for some reason. I guess Tatooine's way cheaper, so
it's like Trantor from the Foundation novels.
Yeah. Max Hut Rep K-Vass should get to feed a slave girl to the Rancor because that's what Hut Cartel members do. You should have your own slave girl at that point. But,
yeah,
you know, the
in
game's
Star Wars, you can have your own slave girl. You can go to the market, pick yourself up a couple.
Exactly.
And it's
fair.
fair.
Some Twi'leks there. And this is the thing. It's funny because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, can you create your own syndicate?" And it's like actually laughable. You'd be like, "Create your."
Lol.
They will never. Like, the idea that no, you could barely be a part of one. And the fact that they're like, you could do the Pikes, the Hutts, the Ashiga, and the Crimson Dawn. And it's like, oh wow, can I join the Empire? No. The Rebels? No. Okay. That's weird. And then it's like, also the Zarek Bash are a significant syndicate in the game. Can I join them? No. Right. Well, this is fun. It's like you are set to hate the rebels and to hate the Empire, and you can't even subvert them, like by joining them and doing, you know, just awful. No one is stoked to see K-Vass. You'll never see her again.
You'll never see her again. She's gonna join all of the other wannabe characters from the Star Wars shows and all the wannabe characters from the MCU. They're gonna go into the closet. They'll never come
be
out.
seen again.
They'll
Except for in a
be seen
video
again.
someday at a YouTube video where they're like the 1,000 forgotten characters of the 2020s.
Yeah,
like,
the annual Glub Shido Awards.
Kay's face seems to constantly oscillate, I think they mean, between human and alien. It's disturbing. I don't know what they did to her face. It's weird.
It is weird. They made it in such a way where it looks really unpleasant a lot of the times, but it's just it's something about the model and the way that they form the cheeks or like the texture of the face and the way it catches the light.
Mm-hmm.
It's legitimately really strange. She's an odd-looking chick a lot of the times, but
which is crazy because the actress is gorgeous.
She's very lovely. That's right. We saw her. We saw her in Tarot.
Yes, she was in Tarot.
That's why we watched that fucking movie. It's because it had Kay Vess.
Yeah.
I'm so.
You know what's funny about that is that, you know, once enough years pass, we can do that for EFAP movies because all three of us will be like, all I remember is it being awful. So
absolutely,
yeah.
It will be forgotten. I remember more the feelings of joy as I watched it and laughed at it more than what I was actually laughing at. Like, it's already kind of there.
Yeah, no, same. I've forgotten a decent chunk of it already, but I was going to say not as good as Wish Upon, but
Wish Upon
there's
is
still some funny
tough to
shit in
beat.
there. Yeah.
It is it tries nobly to reach Wish Upon, but its reach exceeds its grasp or something.
Yes. I saw that some guy on Twitter said all art is meaningless without context, and wanted to hear your thoughts on this statement.
Well, the fact that each person who looks at art is a different context from somebody else looking at that art, and all the experience that they bring with it is kind of like you can't experience art contextless. That's not possible. Um, each unique viewer of the art brings in their own context to it. The meaning that art can have will probably change for you based off the context in which you view it. But it's certainly not meaningless without it, because it's not possible to view art without context.
I'm inclined to agree. I'd be curious to know what this person means by context, because
Yeah, if you meant like if you don't know the history of the artist or the specific commissioning of a painting or the situation that they had to go through to make it, like you don't need to have those things to draw meaning from art, but it can certainly impact the way that you engage with art.
yeah,
I often want to know the story behind art, but I don't need it. And if a piece of art requires the context of its creation to be meaningful, then just tell me the story of the art. I don't need to see the art then. The art's kind of almost oddly made irrelevant by its own context, oddly
again,
enough.
flashbacks to that art episode we did.
With
Ethan is
the
online.
Ethan, yeah, I've got that saved. That thing is a treasure trove of bad takes. Holy, that is actually one of the worst videos we've covered. I think it is easily one of the worst.
You sure?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I am.
We've covered a lot of horrible
I know we
videos.
have. I know we have, but that one has. I think
Remember,
that one
even
it is one of the worst.
even that Star Wars sequels Screen Crush one, people were saying like, "Is this one of the worst videos?" And I was like, "Come
Nope.
on, guys! Like,
Nope.
we've encountered so much worse."
Very entertaining.
Yeah.
Classic, but definitely not among the worst.
Actually, Moriarty is best guest. More Moriarty.
Whoa, Moriarty is a really good guest. I really enjoy having him on.
You do indeed.
He's a cool dude.
Actually, that's her character development, you guys. She didn't have any.
She didn't have any.
Don't tell me that, like, I hate rebels, I hate rebels, I hate rebels, I will save the rebels. It's like, she only ever sees them do nice things except right at the beginning, which is, like, acknowledged by the rebels to be out of character, so... It's just horrible writing, all of it. Mandatory Vader appearance, number 312. Yeah, I was wondering if, obviously by the time this comes out, it'll be known, but I wonder if he'll turn up in Andor. I wonder if they'll do it. Because they have an excuse, more so than most content with Star Wars. And people love Vader, and I imagine that they could make it meaningful. I just, at the same time, I'm almost like, you almost want to avoid that stink, don't you? You brought in Vader, didn't ya? You had to bring in Vader.
It just shows how confident they are in Hey Vess.
It happens to be there at the right time. Collect call. It's Darth. Deep breathing. Vader. Do you accept the charges? He's like the Zarek Bash leader and the ISB director. He's got the money for it. Outlaws sucks bantha balloons. Yeah, that's fair. Can Theo translate? I don't speak skibbity. I don't think he does either.
Theo doesn't speak Skibbity. Theo seems like he would revile Skibbity.
Yes. Maybe he knows, like, know your enemy sort of thing. Like, he learned it to understand it. And
Oh
that's
yeah,
it.
to defeat them. Yeah. He had to touch the darkness to blah blah blah.
Respect the Schrunkle Scrimblow. Alright.
Do
You
not we
bet.
always?
Wow, talking about KVS instead of the penguin? This is some super poultry bigotry. Oh,
Oh, well, don't you worry.
don't you worry. Hey, Muller, I know you aren't too interested in anime or manga, but I've been reading through Berserk recently, and it's pretty great. Hopefully Theo can recommend it to you as well. Also, hi, Rags.
Hello.
Berserk gets recommended a whole bunch. One of them ones.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So long, my Ewoks, Massives, and Hate Mongers. Nice and very inclusive to include all of those. That's great.
It really is. It really is. We're an inclusive podcast.
I would say so. And so, the first thing we need to look at is One Piece Morgans. I'm guessing that is a character from One Piece. And they've said
multiple.
he's anime fringy. Here he is.
Oh wow. I like him. I like his pants.
I like him a lot.
I like him.
He's got style.
He's got
really
he looks like
fun.
he's like a magician or something.
This
He's
is
about to
really
pull a rabbit
fun.
out of a hat.
I
like
really
his-
like him.
They better get him in the Netflix live action, otherwise they're cowards.
He has the feather of another bird in his cap. And I don't know if that's like a social faux pas amongst avians or it's a sign of respect. Like, hey, can I have a feather to put in my cap? You say that, as a sign of respect. Like, you really respect the other bird if you want to keep one of their feathers in your cap.
Yeah, maybe it's like his wife's. And they do it for wife and husband.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. And she has one of his feathers in her hat or whatever a ladybird has. Yeah, I like that. That's good. That would be a big cultural thing amongst birds to be able to pluck a feather out and give it to someone. Like, here's a little piece of me, a memento. It's like their version of our lock of hair. That kind of died out though as a trend. It's kind of seen as a bit creepy giving someone your body parts, but
yeah,
maybe bring it back.
wasn't it?
Don't give someone like a. Don't give. It's more romantic than giving someone like a toenail clipping.
Was it Billy Bob Thornton's? Who wore whose blood? Was it Angelina Jolie wore Billy Bob Thornton's vial of blood or something? It's one of the weirdest shit. You're just like, what?
Why him in particular?
They really got along. He just, you know what?
He is a really good actor. Well, that's the folly about like if you fall in love with an actor. Like, how do you know it's real?
Oh my god.
It's
he's onto something there. He is truly onto something.
It's a dangerous thing to fall in love with an actor.
Dangerous thing to fall in love.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, we got our extinct animal of the day, the Dinotherium. Dinotherium, maybe. It's they've described it as one metal elephant. Oh, here he is.
Man, that is one metal elephant.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the chin. This is like the fourth critter in a row who has a flumpy chin.
All the flumpy chin guys died out.
Chin or a.
So he's got tusks on his chin. Is that what's going on there?
I wonder what they evolved for, like digging or something.
Scratching their chest.
Well, maybe that's why they're not around anymore. I don't know. Maybe
they bumped into too many walls and impaled themselves by accident.
Oh,
jeez.
Yeah, he's cool.
He's pretty metal for an elephant. Yeah.
I prefer the ones we have today, though. They're tusks that come out the front and curved.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
African elephants are really
Elephants
cool.
are iconic. They're super cool animals.
And we have a Warhammer model of the Whenever. Taraxi Skystalker of the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Wow, he sounds really cool.
Want us to just check him out? Give it a little look-see here. There he is.
Okay, so that's him.
What's that he's got
he's got a floop mask, which I kind of find funny.
Yeah, he's like a he looks like a Batman villain.
Like Vulture?
And he's got he looks like Vulture was what I was thinking. Yeah.
Like a Satan vulture. The spooky webs on the wings.
I like the white.
I'm just imagining the red and the white sort of thing going on there with the wings, with the gold as well.
You'd expect it to be black and red, right? Like that would be obvious.
That's the go-to try-hard color, yeah.
It's a good combination, black and red. It's funny you say that when Mola's right here.
I don't I don't know what does he got on his on the left there? Is that like a stun baton or
what he uses to do his job? Because now I am just imagining the scene in Homecoming in the car, but it's just him wearing this suit. Turns around.
Vulture will return. Hey, he was in Morbius post credits, right? So he's on his way back someday.
Yeah, he was. Well, it's kind of funny because Scorpion, Voss Scorpion was in Homecoming, and we never saw him again.
Give him a chance. Who
I
knows?
mean, you know, it'd be cool.
I'm
It'd
just
be-
excited to see Copperhead again.
Fuck yeah, dude. He's my favorite. And with that, the last message. So thank you all so much for sending them in. We appreciate it, and we shall see you in the next EFAPy thing, whatever it may be.
Yeah, everybody. We will
See you
see you
later,
guys later
everybody.
on. Thanks again.